episode of the Truth and Transparency podcast with your host, Brother X, and here on the Truth and Transparency podcast, we talk openly and honestly and everything in between in 2023, 2024, and everything in between. Before we go any further, I know there is a new drink that is sweeping the nation. It is a new purple drink. No, listeners, we're not talking about that purple stuff they drink down in Texas. We're actually talking about the Grimace Shake. And you would think a purple drink would be celebrated and enjoyed in the Black community, but I don't think this is what McDonald's intended when they came up with the Grimace Shake. So, before we get into anything, we're gonna get the bullshit out the way first, or at least a little bit of the bullshit. Apparently, a middle school principal was charged with attempted rape. We'll just use that for the term right now. Attempted rape after luring a student with a Grimace Shake. He allegedly brought condoms, chicken nuggets, and the milkshake to a remote meeting location.
Thought about the hunger afterwards.
Wow.
This is what we on. We ain't been back for a month and you on your bullshit already?
I didn't say I agreed. I just made a point.
You said the nigga was going to be hungry after grape.
I ignored all of that part and focused on...
So you focused on the chicken nuggies and not the Grimace Shake.
Thoughts about the other part too.
What are your thoughts, culture scientist?
What in the hell?
Yes.
That's my main thought.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm pretty sure that's not what McDonald's had in mind. However, McDonald's, mascot is a clown.
I mean, the dude in this picture looks like he built like a white Grimace.
He does.
He looked like he built like a white jelly bean. I'm sorry. I know. I had to get that was a little warm up. That was like a layup. I'm trying. It was a stretch. But before we go any further, we want to make sure to introduce our sound engineer.
Hold on, real quick.
Yes.
I also agree with the statement right here that is posted where it says you have to have no sense to get lured in by a McDonald's shake. Like, girl, really?
You gotta understand. These little nigglets will do anything for some hot Cheetos and a Gatorade from the corner store.
Oh, and again, this is a trusted figure, I guess. This is just
I don't know, man. Needless to say, it didn't go well for him. But I'd be remiss if we didn't shout out the man who makes this all possible, the man of many hats and many names. I'm not even gonna give him a nickname today. He's just a hardworking Black man himself. Mr. Smith, introduce yourself.
Appreciate the compliment. I don't really have a full intro because, well, I'll get to that in a second. Anywho, it's your favorite Fed, Mr. Smith, also known as the Soundbite Poppy, also known as Mr.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
And I want to thank the listeners for the comments, the plays, the subscriptions. Keep feeding us. We'll keep feeding y'all. Number one, shout out to the Chaotic Culture Podcast for always showing us love and support and always dropping the banger content, especially when in regards to music. Number two, in regards to this previous story of the New York principal allegedly seeking sex lured a teen with a Grimace Shake. One, that's nasty as fuck. Two, that's small dick energy. And three, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, as I look at the picture, I look at the shake, I'm like, you go get, okay, I'm going to use an older term from when we were growing up, and I'm going to use what the kids use now. You don't got no swag, no nothing. Like I said, you got small dick energy if you're looking for kids and try to bring them in with condoms. Like, you can't deny that. You have condoms, chicken nuggets, and a milkshake. Like, nigga, come on. But then what the kids say nowadays, nigga, you ain't got no wrist. Like, what? Right. You're a principal. I know principals make a decent salary. And you mean to tell me out of all that, you decide, you know what? I'm going to get me a kid. And I'm going to make sure I lure him in with some chicken nuggets. Like, huh? What? Nigga, get the fuck out of here.
You could at least lure a grown woman with like a $20 steak. I'm just saying.
Hey, now,
Applebee's.
There are some women that will get lured by consensual sexual relations by a 20-piece nugget and the sweet chili sauce from McDonald's.
Don't forget the large sweet tea.
Hey, large sweet tea with the fries.
Well, McDonald's now also has the little frozen Coca-Cola drinks.
Oh, they got the Frosty stuff?
Mm-hmm. They try to copy Burger King, but Burger King did it first.
Fair enough. Yes.
And then the last thing I have in my intro, there was a story that came up where the parents attacked their 16-year-old son in a gaming cafe for spending $45,000 in a video game. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer, okay? If my future child, was to ever even spend more than $100 in a game, I'm whooping his or her ass on sight. This kid dropped an entry-level salary in a video game. My nigga, how are you still breathing? Because as a black family, you be dead.
Well, it looked like the mama was holding him, and then the daddy was getting it in, and he would take like a, and then he got into it. Like the video was top notch. I mean, and it was in the video game place. Like the other person just playing the video game. Like what?
Dog, I'm gonna tell you, and younger listeners, may not get this because you got Twitter, so it's easy access. This is the same type of ass whooping kids would get when they accidentally, quote unquote, ordered Cinemax and other channels on the old cable.
That good HBO.
Dog, when I tell you, I'm never going to be a proponent of abusing a child, but boy.
I discovered that, when I really knew for a fact Las Vegas had like some form of real prostitution that was somewhat kind of legal,
yes,
was when I saw the brothel houses, the lady girl house, whatever, that's on the outskirts of Vegas. I said, oh, that's not hard.
I can neither confirm or deny. I know which house that you're talking about. Shout out to HBO and Cartoon Network that you would flip back on.
Yeah, no, remind me, what's it called?
The Bunny House.
Thank you.
You was really just trying to put me out there.
I loved the Bunny House though. It was funny.
It be your own niggas.
But I'm admitting that, clearly, I know what it is.
Auntie, go ahead and cut off the episode right here.
Hey, it's things we discover by accident by flipping channels.
Yeah, by accident. All right.
You didn't have to say that last part.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, so we're actually going to go ahead and move into our first segment, which is our mental health check-in. I know it's been a minute since we've all talked to you guys on the podcast. We be hanging out, we be kicking it. We be hanging out at cookouts and have a good time and getting rained on, and we're not going to get into that right now. But Mrs. Smith, how are you doing mentally right now?
Well, from the last time that we talked with the listeners, me and Teacher Bay went on vacation to the Dominican Republic, and that shit was fire. I didn't go lie. However they did that steakhouse, top 2, and it's not 2. Like, I think both times we literally looked at the steak and was like, damn, this shit is fire. And we're full, but we need to keep eating because it's free, but we're still going to do this. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. From there, just being out there and being able to turn off for a little bit was great. Again, shout out to the crew, Brother X, Culture Scientist, Queen C, and Tiny Librarian. I had to make sure I remember her name. All of them came up for the cookout. Cookout was lit until it got rained on for 15 minutes. And then it got sunny again. And then it rained for another 15 minutes. And then it was sunny for the rest of the time. It was great. Niggas had ponchos. Niggas got rained on. Niggas was twerking in the rain. It was a good time. Shout out to, not the non-endorsement, but shout out to the food truck, Mr. Fries, man. Because listen. Listen. That honey garlic steak and shrimp fries. And then Teacher Bay had the shrimp and crab meat, lemon pepper. Oh my Lord. That shit was fire. So along with that, 4th of July was, pretty much a decent time. And now just looking forward to spending time with family, getting our stuff together, getting back in my workout regimen, down another, I think I checked this morning, I'm down another 3 pounds. And I'm about 6 pounds from my target weight. So just trying to keep myself focused on that, focus on the budget, focus on, adulting stuff. It's the second half of the year, so just trying to be locked in and focused.
Respect. Culture Scientist, would you like to share with the people how you feeling mentally right now? Talk to them.
There's a lot going on in this brain, but first I want to point out to the cookout. was it the Rock'em? I can't remember the name.
It was the egg roll
The
spot.
egg roll spot though.
Dog, they had a crab cake egg roll.
That crab cake egg roll gave me life. It was so good. Yes, I like other egg rolls too, but you don't often find a crab cake egg roll. So
Only in Maryland.
once I find out the actual name, we'll try to tag it in the highlights below.
Yes.
But
That's a lot of ums.
I'm not okay, but I'm okay.
Understandable.
And we are in the crunch time of our wedding.
Boy.
And the little things are now feeling very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's just on top of regular normal life things. So yeah, I just ask for y'all's, love and care wishes to the culture scientist's brain. And that I focus better. And I, turn around whatever I'm feeling.
I understand that, and I recognize that. Honestly, we have these fluctuations, man. With our mental health, it's not linear. It's not a start and an end. Like, yeah, we finish the race when we get to a place where we're in a good spot. It is definitely a marathon. Shout out to Nipsey Hussle. Everything just kind of fluctuates, and we kind of gotta see our way through it. And like my pop said, just eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Today was just not a good day.
And that's okay for it not to be a good day. We got to feel our feels. Like, I know for me, mentally, obviously, just like the culture scientist said, we got a lot going on. But I'm also in an interesting headspace because, listeners, for you don't know, I am now beginning year 10 of my teaching career. And I had a very big epiphany when we were doing some of our professional development before the school year started. And we were sitting in a circle and they asked me to share why I got into teaching. And the craziest part, I won't even say crazy, but the actualization or the realization of the situation was the reason why I teach and I do what I do is almost intrinsic to who I am as a person, because I try to be that first Black male role model that a lot of these kids may have in their life, or I might be the only one. Or also being the teacher that I needed when I was a kid. Things that my father and my mentor, shout out to Mr. Thompson, God rest his soul, what were for me. So I've tried to go about things differently mentally, not operate from a place of negativity when it comes to certain stuff that comes to work, trying to go out of my way to be more visible and not just hang out in my space in the gym. But yeah, I'm trying to work myself into a better place when it comes to professional stuff. I'm gonna get stressed out about this wedding stuff. I just know that's gonna happen. But I'm trying to find the balance. You know what we couldn't find though? That submarine that looked like one of the pill holders.
And before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the lives that were lost during the submarine explosion, unfortunately.
Implosion,
I guess. And it is a very sad situation, and our hearts and our minds and prayers go out to the loved ones and the remainder family.
But boy, I'm about to get these jokes off.
Cause the internet had them.
I'm looking at this thing right now. I'm like, this looks exactly like 4 old niggas that didn't need to be doing shit.
Except the young one.
Like, I feel truly bad for the young one because he didn't want to go. He had a bad feeling about it, but he wanted to do it because he wanted to make his dad happy. You, sir, y'all built like y'all are the old raggedy crew at the country club. Y'all built like y'all ain't got one black friend. Because one black friend would have been told you, don't do that. That thing was built like it was in Sonic where he was running out of air and it literally was like, do. And you see all the air bolts pop out. You had a PlayStation controller directing the ship and you missed multiple regulations about how this ship was supposed to be built and set up. And to do it for what? To see that Titanic?
You can watch the documentary.
You can watch the movie. Wait, sorry. Let me not do that to you. The movie might have been as long as a trip down there to go see the actual thing. Because it is one of those movies where I have literally fallen asleep while watching it. Woken
never
up.
seen the entirety.
Matter of fact, funny enough, listeners, you tell us in the comments if you've ever watched the Titanic all the way through with no breaks, not falling asleep at all. Because I promise you, I have never done it.
And we all only remember key scenes.
Yes.
I remember the sex scene.
Yeah.
I remember the
Pay me like one of your French girls, Jack.
like, oh my god.
Oh, I'm on top of the world.
And then, of course, Jack died because my liver was trifling.
That is, he didn't have to die. I will die on the
Oh, I
bridge.
remember them running through the boat. You know, oh my god, insane. I remember that.
Listeners, what you don't see is that Culture Scientist is giving a great display of what happened in the movie with her hands.
Mind you, I also have a headache.
I don't know how she's doing it. She's pulling it through. She's pulling her flu game. Yes, Mr. Swift, go ahead.
So one, totally agree. Jack should have been on the door with Rose. There was enough room. Rose's stingy ass laid entirely flat. I don't care what anybody says.
As white
cold,
privilege.
listen, as
Rich
cold as it
privilege.
was,
Rich privilege. That's probably
yes.
what,
As cold as it was out there and everybody freezing, if you really love this man, if you really loved him as much, and he's like, no, I want you to lay up there. I want you to, no, nigga, I'm going to balance on one side. Then both of us get up at the same time. And then we sit there and use body heat to keep each other warm while they try to find the survivors.
I just want to point out that Brother X would actually say, move over. Oh, move over, culture scientist. Move over.
I promise you, it will be very simple.
Or
Move over, Nick. Actually, no. Better thing. We would never have been here in the first place. The minute you said
definitely
boat.
not.
Oh, no. No. You want to go somewhere cold on a boat? No. Niggas have a bad track record with boats in general. No.
Antarctica intrigues me, but not enough to go.
Sciences, I love you, but you are going on that trip
Did
by
you not
yourself.
just hear me say not enough to go?
I'm saying if you ever consider it, that
and
is
to my other friend, my adventure is explorer friend. Absolutely not.
Nurse Joy, we talking about you.
That's not who I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about this light bright woman.
Which one?
She has M&Ms in her life.
Oh yeah. No. Nope. Not in the stars. Not in the stars. I appreciate that reference. That was solid. Get that to me. Yes. That was solid. If you know, you know. All right, Mr. Smith, you have more thoughts?
Yeah. The thing that kills me about this is the submarine is a prototype, right?
Yes.
Now, as someone who is a computer scientist that works, for the government and has like knowledge of how technical people think versus how business people think. Sure, we'll go with that. This thing should have never left the damn station. And for that matter, who, and I'm going to say this with all the caucasity in my voice, who in the immortal fuck is paying $250,000 a seat? Rich privilege. I'm sorry. That's a house. That is literally a house.
Yes.
No.
You're right.
No. So.
Oh, wait. Hold on real quick before you continue. Scroll back up.
Salary.
Dog, that shit is built like roll-on deodorant. That shit is built like the lip balm you buy at Walgreens.
What? Corner.
It built like 3/4 of a Tic Tac.
What? Get corner. Go now.
All right, I'm going to the corner. I'll be back. Go ahead.
But yeah, so it's $250,000 a seat, right? It's 5 people. Do the quick math. You're talking 1.25 million. All right. So now, this boat or submarine or craft or whatever the hell it is that should have never left goes down. And if anybody knows anything about water pressure, once you hit a certain point of the ocean, hence why people don't go down that far, water pressure will either start messing up technological pieces, or the person that made the Ocean Gate submersible was taking carbon fibers or hulls from aircraft that were no longer using it, meaning that the stuff was already used. You want to talk about cutting corners when you're going into a place that nobody goes to? Nah, fam. So
it's that last minute science project.
And then you have people we're actually sending sending emails and letters saying like, yo, there's going to be catastrophic issues if you decide to go through this. It's not certified. And they was like, we're going to see for ourselves. And then the boat imploded. So I feel bad. Honestly, the only person that I feel bad for out of the 5, and this is Mr. Smith. This is not the Truth and Transparency podcast. This is Mr. Smith. The only person I feel bad for is the kid, and that's because he didn't want to go, but his dad convinced him to go. And his life shouldn't have been taken. The rest of them, nah, they knew what they was doing. And I'm sorry, as a Black person, if you see a waiver that literally says multiple times, death could result from this potentially. Nah, nigga, we're good. We're good.
All it takes is one death. Period. Don't even take nothing else in the conversation. Death. No, I'm good. Dog, I can spend that on so many other things. But rest in peace to the son of the dude and that ship. We just know we ain't gonna do that. Next time you want to see a buried ship, just watch Titanic, please. Just keep it simple. Like, we don't need it. But we're actually gonna go ahead and switch lanes. You know, it's been a while, so we got that new music. Mr. Smith, go ahead and use the new music I sent you with the new money that we have. Ready? Sports Center.
Okay. This Sports Center is pretty much just going to be all NBA because NFL is in training camp. Meh. Boxing. Meh. MMA. Meh. And then tennis is at Wimbledon. Meh. So, with that, the free agency and trading for the NBA has started up. And some of the blockbuster things that came out of it was longtime Washington Wizard Bradley Beal finally got out from the Wizards. I did not want him to take the Carmelo Anthony route. And, I mean, he needs to get the money, don't get me wrong, but I want him to win. So he got traded to the Phoenix Suns, and he's now supposed to form a big 3 with him, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. In which the Suns I think the Suns sent Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and a whole bunch of draft picks. Now, the thing I feel bad about Chris Paul is Chris Paul literally he was like the what's the word I want to say? The woman in the crew that nobody wanted, because like he went to the Wizards. He got traded to the Wizards. And then like the very next day or the second day after, he gets traded from the Wizards to the Golden State Warriors. It's like, well, it's like what's that movie? Oh no, I'm sorry, not the movie. It's like Will Smith and Fresh Prince. How come they don't want me, man? Like that's really how I feel when it comes to Chris Paul getting traded. So within that, you know, we had those couple of trades. We had another big one that I'm sure we'll have some comments, but I'll say that for the end. For that, I'll say, as a matter of fact, Brother X, I can ask you, how do you feel about the fact that Chris Paul got traded to your Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole?
It's like trading your hard-headed son, but you still love him, for your illegitimate son that you're like, I mean, I guess I'll take him. But in all seriousness, man, I think it's best for both parties. It was very clear that the Warriors wanted to at least try to run things back one last time with the core of Draymond, Klay Thompson, and Steph. And Jordan Poole had already signed his contract, so it's not like it was a matter of they had to sign either Jordan Poole or Draymond Green. So when it was very clear they were going to re-sign Draymond Green, the writing was on the wall that it wasn't going to be healthy if they did it another year. It was just going to really be the end of the dynasty. And for Jordan Poole and all the younger players' sake, Steve Kerr has made it very clear over the last couple of years he does not like playing young players outside of, if he doesn't have to, like they have to validate them playing. So moving those young players so they have a chance outside of Kuminga and Moody, who have shown some glimpses, I mean, it's for the best. I know if a certain establishment was still in the running, Jordan Poole would be doing numbers. His jersey would be hanging in the rafters with James Harden. If you know, you know. But since that place isn't there, he's just going to be eating. He's going to have a bunch of brunch boots and eating out at Hook and Reel.
He's gonna be at Rose Bar. I'm gonna call it what it is. That man is gonna be at Rose Bar every Sunday.
Oh yeah, no, he gonna do numbers. I won't say Derek Jeter numbers, but he gonna do numbers.
He might. Well, I can't say he's gonna get up there with John Wall because John Wall ran establishment that we will pour a drink out to. He ran that establishment. But yeah, he gonna be at Rose Bar. Along with that, there were other things that happened, such as players that were pretty much re-signing. So big stars like James Harden, who picked up his player option and was working on trades, and it was in between like Houston and I can't remember the other place, but right now it's just kind of like a stalemate. You have players like Kyle Kuzma, who went back to the Wizards, Kobe White, who pretty much stayed with Chicago Bulls, which I'm actually shocked about that one. And then some of the bigger ones, some of the stars that people know nowadays are LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards. Now, Anthony Edwards was number 1 overall pick. I can't remember which draft year that was, but he signed a rookie supermax as well as LaMelo. So LaMelo signed a designated rookie max extension that could be worth as much as $260 million. Holy hell. Which granted, he's earned it, for this. He is the face of the Charlotte Hornets because it definitely ain't Miles Bridges, but we ain't gonna go there. And then Anthony Edwards, who also signed a 5-year designated rookie maximum extension that could be worth $260 million. Now, the thing about Anthony Edwards, which is funny to me, is that man put out a video as soon as he signed it. And you can tell it was his video because it was on his social media handles. And he's like, for all the Instagram baddies and thotties and people that want to try to get in my DMs that I signed that contract, yeah, you can go ahead and keep that. I got one girl, and that's the person I'm going to be with. And you see a girl in the video, but he doesn't pan to the girl. He pans to his dog. And I cracked the hell up. That was hilarious. And the girl was like, word. He was like, oh yeah, YouTube. But yeah, still. So, this season is going to shape up to be very interesting. I know for me and Teacher Bay's Lakers, I'm actually excited about the pieces that we picked up. Like, we have a well-rounded team of people that can spread the ball around, and especially with a full year and a full, off season and training camp to ramp up and get the ideas together, we could still be contending in the Western Conference. Of course, we have to get through Golden State, which will be a little bit harder because we got through them last time because Jordan Poole was a distraction and still will not be forgiven for that dumbass shot he pulled up in game 1.
Not show up. That nigga did not show up.
Yeah, But it's with them now having their core, it's going to be tougher. I know they're going to be healthier, especially now that Draymond got his contract. Which Brother X, remind me, is it 4-year, $100 million?
Yep.
Okay.
3 years. I think it's 3 years guaranteed with a team option for the 4th year. So it's really like 75.
I'm surprised he didn't do the player option, but yeah.
Well, it's more so his friendly option. He knew his value wasn't going to be any higher anywhere else, and he wanted to stay with the core. And he knew that it's going to look real wild that you blew up the Warriors 1 year prior, and you offensively are nowhere near where you used to be.
True. But I mean, granted, he is y'all defensive intensity.
Yeah.
So I'll take that. And then the last 2 things regarding NBA, and then we can wrap this up. Number 1, they decided to do an in-season tournament. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there because I just no. You said what?
Give me AAU vibes.
Yeah. I get you're trying to make it more competitive, but And then number 2, Damian Lillard for the Trailblazers finally asked for a trade. It's about damn time. And I say he only wants to go to one place, which is the Miami Heat, which honestly, I could see it. Him and them actually having a legit shooter outside of Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, who's probably going to be trade pieces for him. and Jimmy doesn't have to bring the ball up, I could see it. But we'll see what happens with a trade request. But that's pretty much all for SportsCenter. Like I said, it's pretty much just all NBA. Whole bunch of money being thrown around, money that me, Brother X, and Coach Scientist will never see. Because I'm sorry, can we get $1 million, 5, something?
Hey, just give me enough for my student loans in the 4 for 4.
I was going to say. Matter of fact, y'all got the money. Give me a $5 biggie bag.
Hey, talk about it. Talk about it.
But yeah, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or want to learn more about the NFL, hit up my boy Red Wolf on his YouTube and his Instagram. His links will be in the description below.
Play other new music. All right, listeners, we're going to go ahead and get into our next segment, which is Now Mind You. Now Mind You is a segment in the podcast where we talk about some news in the social media streets or on the internet that we find interesting or we want to share with you. But we use the black vernacular of Now Mind You to tell you the key or vital parts of said story. We will be remiss, since we were gone for a while, to talk about the dumbass decision, and I'm going to call it a dumbass decision, by the Uncle Ruckus and his cronies on the Supreme Court, who just basically gutted and, for all intents and purposes, have gotten rid of affirmative action in the college admissions. So to give you a little bit of more detail, the actual story reads that the Supreme Court says colleges and universities can no longer take race into consideration as a specific bias for granting admission, a landmark decision. Consideration as specific basis for granting admission, a landmark decision that overturned long-standing precedent that has benefited Black and Latino students in higher education.
Stupid.
So before we go further, let's make something very clear. The people who benefit the most from affirmative action are white women. That's not hyperbole. That's not woke. That's facts. And for my Asian community who think that you can discriminate your way into being white, just like some of the Hispanic people who think they can discriminate their way into be considered white passing, you gotta suffer too. And this whole notion that, the Black people are keeping us from getting into certain schools.
Not true.
Not true. Like, literally, Google is free. I promise you, it is free. And you're not going to get into those country clubs by hating on Black people. Just look at those 2 Black women who did that stuff for Trump. God rest one of their souls, I think. I think one of them passed. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't wish death on nobody, but you will be a talking piece. You will be used to get miseducated Black folks' votes, and that's it. Hell, look at Herschel Walker. Ain't nobody heard from him since he lost. And he was supposed to be this big person. All you are talking pieces for white nationalism and racism. That's just really how I look at it. And I'm gonna leave it to somebody else. You already know who I want to talk about, but I'm gonna let somebody have at it. Coach Scientist, you have any thoughts about this?
This is stupid. This is not what this was meant for. And people of color, in particular, Blacks and Latinos, are still already behind in education because of other things and other issues that step on the growth of others. And we still have to, yes, get a little extra help just to move a little further and still represent as the few that represent for anything, speaking from a science perspective.
Hell, I'm looking from an education perspective. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about to the people who think that, this is like, now everybody, I'm going to get back in. I'm like, I promise you, the African-American woman who was valedictorian of the school getting into Harvard over you, a white male who did nothing but existed in your whiteness, got in on her merit, and you're trying to get on being a legacy. Because apparently, it's just, let's get rid of affirmative action. It's going to affect African-American and people of color, certain peoples of color. Let me be very specific when I say that. But legacies, I'm looking at y'all. So we're not going to get rid of that, because if you didn't have your legacy, you probably wouldn't qualify for getting in there if you didn't pay your way to get into that school. Mr. Smith, you have any thoughts?
So, one, it's interesting that they literally like I wish I could have found the piece from Harvard, because that's where they did the numbers where it was like majority of their admissions without affirmative action were either people that were donors or people that were legacy, which is crazy, right?
Right.
But then number two, the main people that got of color from those universities were athletes. So it's like, okay, this kind of is twofold, right? On one end, okay, we're going to take away affirmative action so that it's almost a kind of a way of Republicans keeping white institutions white instead of like how we can blend how the United States was supposed to be. But then two, to me, if I am a person of color and you see this, I am always an advocate for HBCUs. But this further shows if you want to stick it to them as an athlete, don't go there. Yeah. Take your talents to all HBCUs. I promise you that money will shrivel up real quick, because if they don't got the ESPN money, if they cannot produce quality athletes that are as good, if not better, than those of the 5-star and 4-star recruits that are going to these Bamas and Clemsons, whatever. As we talked about in multiple of our previous episodes, if you lose the training regimen, which granted that's a whole nother conversation we can have about the diversification of training staff and money, especially with Jackson State. Please check out that episode. But if you take away that, you take away the ESPN money, you take away all the other stuff. Look at Jackson State. Deion Sanders did that shit in a couple years, and then you see him on ESPN all the time, and they are waxing teeth. Don't get me wrong, they still got beat the championship, and they could not hold a candlestick at Alabama if they tried. But another conversation for another day. But right. The last thing I'm gonna say to that is, remember, listeners, the Supreme Court. I'll say it again. The Supreme Court gutted affirmative action. You want to know who's on the Supreme Court? Clarence motherfucking Uncle Ruckus Thomas. Clarence Thomas. You want to know how he got in? Oh, I'm sorry. Was it not affirmative action that got you to where you wanted to be? And you're the person that gutted it. So what sense does that make, right? Oh, I'm going to get there, but you know how they always tell us, okay, reach one, teach one. Okay, I taught you, now reach back and give back to other. That nigga was like, nope, I'm gonna keep it for myself. And to that I say, do you not understand that, as Jay-Z said, you will still be looked at as a nigga, no matter what you do. When you get off the Supreme Court, it don't matter. They're still gonna look at you like a nigga. So why are you trying to help them? Why? And again, listeners, anybody, this literally is a win for white men. White women, you're going to be affected. Black people, we're always affected no matter what. Asians, Hispanics, all we're affected. White men have made it very, very clear that all they want to do is help themselves. And we know that. But the white women always fall for it because they want to vote to support their white men, even though the white men ain't supporting them. And then Hispanics want to be white, so they try to vote for white, and it's like, whatever. But this is the issue of what happened. What is it? 7 years ago? Yes, 2016 election. We kept saying, "Hey guys, we need to vote." And don't get me wrong, I'll make this very clear. Listen, camera one, look at me. Mm-hmm. Black people, yes, we did our job. Okay, stop with the narrative that black people didn't go out to vote. No, nigga, we did. In underwhelming circumstances, gerrymandering, people having to be funneled into one voting location, standing in line for hours. We did our job. You want to know who fucked us over? Hispanics or white women. Straight up. Look at the numbers. Google it. That's all we say. Google is free. But this is the long-term effects that we always talk about. When they're like, Trump only going to be in for 4 years. We can survive it. Yeah, he'll be in for 4 years. But the shit that he brings in will affect us for a long time to come. And people didn't realize that. And now they're like, oh, shit. And all black people look at him like, what you thought was going to happen, dumbass. So to that, I say, look, all the black people that see this and you don't get accepted to Harvard, guess what? Take your talent to an HBCU. Let's use our resources to build them up and be more powerhouses than these powerhouse schools. And I promise you, it's going to be an interesting time. However, I'm gonna warn y'all. You know, as soon as black people start getting some shit, white people gonna try to find a way to fuck that up. But you ain't hear that from me though.
Yeah. So I mean, there's just that piece, and we just going to acknowledge that. But black people, as much as we do a lot of good, and we are the backbone, the skeleton, the muscle, everything that this country is, although we don't get the credit for it, we got some L's we got to hold. First and foremost, down in Atlanta, there is a video of a said person trying to rob a nail salon. Probably not the best idea, but let's get into it. Do we have audio for this?
What they trying to? Never mind.
Okay, so I don't think we have audio for this one, but let's break this down. In this particular clip, they say that there is no place like Atlanta. You know, people have seen some crazy things if they don't even buck when a robber comes in. Authorities are searching for a would-be robber who was captured on video walking into Nail First on Piedmont Road, for all of our Atlanta people, you know where that is, with his hand on a bag, I'm assuming a hand in a bag, on Monday afternoon in an attempt to rob the business. The man shouts, "Get on the ground and give me your money," to a group of women who appear to be employees of the business, but no one moves. The workers ignore the man, who then walk over to a man working behind a counter, but he didn't even take him seriously. Instead of handing over any money, the employee answered the phone that was ringing and walked away. The local news station reported. Eventually, one woman stood up with her hands up and walked outside, while others dismissed the would-be robber. The man soon gives up when he realizes his failed attempt and leaves. So, I know we say that all black people don't need to be rappers. Nigga, not all black people need to be robbers. Like, dog, once nobody moves when you try to say, "Hey, get on the ground," dog.
I should tell you something.
Either you escalate, if you're gonna rob correctly. You escalate the shit, you fire off a couple rounds to make them know you're serious. But look, you gotta understand, dog, this is a black dude with white people. The only person who left out was a white woman who was like, "Calm down, Jamal, put down the 9." But everyone else, every Asian person in this nail salon is like, "He ain't gonna do it." Like, nigga, you ain't shit. They probably didn't say nigga, but they was thinking, nigga, you ain't shit. Mrs. Smith, go ahead.
So I want to point out two things about this video that made me laugh, right? Number one, 1A and 1B. One, I didn't take them seriously because you could tell, you know what? For all my card players, you will understand this reference. You know how when you play spades and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I got 6 in the possible." You look at your hand like, "Oh, this nigga bluffing like shit." That's what it looked like with this nigga having a hand in a bag, right? If you don't have the weapon on you, it's really hard to believe. Like, if you would have pulled in with the gun, like we see the gun, then you might be more believable, right? But the fact that you had your hand clutched in that bag so hard, and we're like, you're kind of putting a little bit too much acting into it. We don't believe you, right? 1B, you come in with a black t-shirt, I think those are sweatpants, and I'm going to assume those are some Adidas sneakers, with a backwards hat and some glasses. Like, niggas don't got cameras. So even if you were to try to rob the place, like, nigga, we see your face. But then the second thing, which is the funniest thing, if you notice in the top left corner of the video, old girl sitting in the corner, Lily's recording him the entire time. Like, "All right, TikTok, so here's the robber right now. He tried to do some shit, and we're just doing here. So like and comment, subscribe if you want to see him try to rob him some more. We'll try to get an interview with him next time if you get it to 5,000 likes." Like, niggas is like, what? And nigga, you really ain't got no, you not him. You are not him. If niggas are looking at you like, "All right, man, give me the money." So yeah, do you want gold white or do you want snow white on your nails? You want manicure? Like, if they go back to work like nothing happened, you ain't got it, fam. Let it go.
You better just go home and be a family man. Go take care of your kids, man. Go ahead and get that milk you said you going to the store for. Come on. Coach Scientist, you got any thoughts?
Keep stupid.
Thank you, Coach Scientist. In other news, another really dumb story. Mr. Smith, you want to take this one?
I'll take
also in Atlanta. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Former Amazon manager sentenced for stealing nearly $10 million. Used funds to purchase a home, a Lambo, and other luxury cars. So a former employee at Amazon in Georgia has been sentenced for stealing more than $9.4 million. Kayrika Wortham worked as a manager for Amazon Atlanta. She and 6 others have been charged with in connection to what the Department of Justice calls a scheme, accusing them of fraud to steal millions of dollars from the online retail giant. Worthman pled guilty to the charges late last year, according to officials, along with another Atlanta area resident. U.S. Attorney Ryan K. Buchanan said Wortham and Demetrius Hines of Smyrna used their positions at the company and submitted fake invoices for fake vendors, causing Amazon to pay about $9.4 million to the pair and multiple co-conspirators. Wortham is accused of using her position as an operation manager as an Amazon warehouse to submit fake invoices, as well as using her supervisory position to approve both new vendors and payment. Wortham would then approve the fake vendors and let them submit invoices and receive payments from Amazon. Wortham and co-conspirators then submitted fictitious invoices, falsely representing that the vendors had provided goods and services to Amazon. They approved the invoices, causing Amazon to transfer millions in fraudulent proceeds to bank accounts controlled by her and her co-conspirators. Now, the thing that kills me is that they paid for personal real estate and luxury cars, including buying a $1 million home in Smyrna. They bought a 2019 Lamborghini, a 2021 Dodge Durango, a 2022 Tesla Model X, a 2018 Porsche Panamera, and a Kawasaki ZX636 motorcycle.
Sheesh.
Okay, I want to make sure for everybody that's listening to be very clear. If I'm not saying you should do this, because again, the government, me and others, we're gonna find out. But if you're gonna do it, why the hell are you gonna buy a house up the street from where you're stealing from?
Dumbass!
Bruh. Bruh. Nigga, you couldn't even go around the corner. You can't even hide behind something. Like, nigga, we see you when you leave.
And then to make matters worse, okay, you do know, even if you buy in cash, when they do a check for where the money's coming from, they're gonna figure out real quick, okay, if your salary as an Amazon manager is this, how the hell did you make this much money?
Right.
Without it being stocks, bonds, or inheritance. And if they can see that, oh, well, this money came because we funded this company. Oh, the same exact thing as the PPP loans. Well, what does the company do? What's your mission statement? What is your operation expenses? And I'm sure they couldn't come up with that. But then, if I may take a quote or a message from American Gangster, the flashiest one in the room is the dumbest one in the room. How the hell are you gonna buy a Lamborghini, a Dodge Durango, a Tesla, a Porsche, and a Kawasaki, and a house? Nigga, I was getting ready to incriminate some people. Let me not do that.
I'm about to say, please don't.
No.
Be held responsible. The Truth and Transparency podcast does not incriminate said criminals. If you get caught, it is for your own dumbass. But continue, Mr. Smith.
But it's just like, did you not think this all the way? Well, obviously you didn't, but bruh, do you understand that the more expensive purchases you have, the more that the government is going to check in and be like, hold up, wait a minute, something's off here. Usually throughout the year, we'll just say, for instance, she's making, as an Amazon manager, let's just say $130,000 a year, right? Out of nowhere, you see, oh, she purchased a house for $1 million. She purchased a Lamborghini, that's probably $250,000. She purchased a Porsche Panamera, that's probably $120,000. Hold up, her salary is this. Where is she getting this money from? Now they're gonna do an audit. Now they're gonna figure out where you're coming from. Why? Why would you do it? That's dumb as hell.
Person they tell you in the movies what not to do.
Not you.
Like, all the movies tell you what not to do for everything.
Yeah, I mean, dog, if we got like, dog, I'm just disappointed. I'm like, dog, if you're gonna do wrong, do it right. Like, of all things, why? Like, you can't. If you're going to do something, don't get things that are going to draw attention to yourself. If you ain't never had a nice car before, don't buy that. You know what you do? You buy yourself a Toyota Camry. Don't nobody question that shit. It look nice, but it don't cost a lot. Don't nobody ask no questions. Everybody's like, oh, That's a nice little car, but they don't question it. But my nigga, you bought why are you buying a Lamborghini? Where are you going and driving in Atlanta? Nigga, there's traffic.
I was about to say traffic.
Nigga, where you gonna drive that thing? Unless you go into certain establishments that you want to stunt on, you ain't driving it nowhere. Mrs. Smith, go ahead.
Say one thing. I just thought about it, right? Because we were just in Atlanta for your bachelor party. Of course, listeners, please listen to that episode because that shit's funny as hell.
It is.
But and also ignorant. But she bought a Lamborghini so she could stunt in traffic on I-85. But then you think about it, the establishment that we went to, I'm sorry, I'm not pulling that Lamborghini up to that establishment because if you've ever been on that road, no, that shit will be gone by the time you get out.
Oh yeah, no, it ain't even gonna be on blocks. It's gonna be the framework. It's gonna be a door. And it's gonna say on the door, "You thought."
Yeah, and I wouldn't even put that shit up on Lennox. Take it to Lennox Mall. I wouldn't take it to Cascade. Nigga, you better be all the way outside of Georgia for that. But that's neither here nor there.
But yeah, black people, we love us, but yeah, we gotta hold these L's. Now, what we don't have a hold of L for, and I better not find out any black people doing this. We have a love-hate relationship with TikTok. It's one of our social medias to check us out on the Truth and Transparency Pod on TikTok. But apparently there is this new trend of boat jumping, where it has actually now claimed the life of 4 people in 6 months. Well, listeners, we should have known already. They're talking about Alabama, so just know that, yes, they're exactly who you think they are. Alabama officials have said in video. So, let's get to it. So, there's a new TikTok challenge called boat jumping. Like I said, it's claimed 4 lives in the past 6 months. The trend involves thrill seekers, white folk, jumping or flipping off.
Black people are thrill seekers.
Mr. Smith, without the audio, pull up the clip for the coach of scientists. Coach of scientists, I need you to see example A.
That was not the point.
See example B.
Again, not the point.
I'm just saying, what black folk you say you gonna do? Jump out of a perfectly moving boat?
I'm just saying, some black people like to do adventurous things. You said thriller things. Some black people do. Not me.
I wish you would jump out of a boat, coach of scientists. All right, Mr. Smith, go ahead.
I just want to defend Coach Santos with this one thing. Technically speaking, thrill seeker does not equate to boat jumping. It equates in this instance, but a thrill seeker could be anybody that wants to do skydiving, or wants to do cliff diving. As somebody who has jumped at Rick's Cafe and brother, actually watched me do it. You didn't do it.
I don't know.
You watched.
I don't want to break my shit. Yes.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was only a 3-second drop.
Do I must bring up the fact of a certain person who busted their face?
That wasn't me. And technically that was her fault.
because she decided to jump from there.
She decided to jump drunk, and she should have. And they told us when you jump, you're supposed to jump straight down. She started rotating forward. That's not their fault. That's her. That's a one-off. But go ahead.
Sure. But to give you a little bit more information, basically they're jumping or flipping off the back of a boat while traveling at a high speed. The captain from the local rescue squad told the news that the fatalities occurred when the jumper's neck broke as they hit the water, causing them to drown. Well, no, though. You move out of a moving vehicle, what you think gonna happen? The only one that I've noticed that people have jumped out of that don't immediately get hurt from is jumping out of an airplane. And you ain't gonna see my ass doing that shit. This ain't the 90s Power Ranger movie. You notice I know only one black person jumped out that plane. Shout out to Aisha. But yeah, no, I think it's crazy. Coach of scientists, do you have any thoughts on this?
It ain't funny. This is basically in why do people continue to do things that result in hurting themselves so badly?
This is why I say this is a white people shit, because white people just want to feel danger and feel fear for their lives outside of saying that to black people who are living their lives. So they just keep doing dumb shit. And I don't know what's going to take. After the first person breaks their neck doing that shit, why am I doing this again? Like, why are we doing this?
I don't know. I at this point, I just kind of look at it like this. They teach you, or let me phrase that. Those with experience with water tell you that you have to dive a certain way depending on how you dive in order to not hurt yourself. Because newsflash listeners, even though water you can dive through, the higher up you are or whatever, the harder it is that you hit. And that's why if you ever notice people that do cliff diving or whatever, they always land feet first because your feet are able to take the pressure of you hitting the water. Your neck, your face is not able to do that. But of course, thrill seekers, aka Caucasus Mountains, aka what me and teacher like to call them sheep, they tend to try to do the dumbest shit ever known, man. And like we said, it would be different if the boat was standing still and you jumped off it. Okay, seen it happen. There's still a chance of injury, but it's not high.
Right.
Nigga, you jumping off a boat at high speed is the equivalent of you jumping out of a moving car. You're gonna hurt yourself. But again, as I always state, listeners, these people that are doing this shit on TikTok, they're bored. Because I promise you, if you were to give them something that would not get them bored, you would lose half of the challenges right then and there. And not to say that this generation does that, because hell, the generation before had the what was it called? Tide Pod Challenge, the Ice Challenge. Like that was the dumbest shit ever. But it's like, I don't know, maybe millennials and partly Gen Z. I still the judge still the ruling still on that. Probably the last generation that probably have common sense to be like, what you say, Brother X? The possibility of death? Nah, I'm good.
Nah. I would say death? Can't do it. Not in the stars. Can't do it. But dog, all I just need to know is that all these people who have passed away, they out here looking like Mortal Kombat fatalities.
Damn. Now, wait, question. Are we talking 1994, 95 Sega Genesis Super Nintendo fatalities? Or are we talking like PS4 Mortal Kombat 11 fatalities?
Mortal Kombat 11, when you see the bones crack.
Damn. Continue.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and go into our Black business highlight real quick. We want to actually take a little bit of time to shout out Shop Cornelia Home. Cornelia Home is a non-toxic vegan fragrances and built for home decor. It is chosen clean and use natural resources. It is a premium home fragrance brand. It is created by their, I can't seem to find the name right now, but if we find it, I'll put it in the show notes. But it is handmade by 2 breast cancer survivors, so shout out to them. And that 2% of your purchases are donated to Little Pink Breast Cancer Organization. We've had the pleasure of actually meeting them during the Juneteenth a while back. Purchased some of their linen spray, which is phenomenal, having the house smell real good.
It's so good, listen.
So it's just beautiful. I mean, and they have a multitude of different things you can check out. Not only fragrances for your linen, but for your body as well. And it's all vegan friendly as well. So that is Shop Cornelia's Home on Instagram, and their website is www.corneliahome.com. Get you some things and tell them that the Truth and Transparency podcast sent you. We can't get you a discount, but you can just tell them that we sent you. Maybe we'll get a partnership with them because we always take in donations.
Money.
Funds.
$dollar bills, y'all.
Skrilla.
I'm done. Sorry.
OPR eggs.
Bruh. Get the fuck out of here.
Listen, if you don't know what OPR eggs are, go back to the bachelor party episode. We'll talk about it. Yeah, but we're actually going to go ahead and get into this week's topic. We actually want to take a moment because while we were gone, I won't say all hell broke loose, but a very prime example of people being upset about people's relationships and how they're governed and how they move. Where we have first the story about Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade the whole conversation about they split everything 50-50 and how social media reacted to it. Because, social media never overreacts to things and never takes the time to just assume things. And they actually do their research. So for those who don't know, Gabrielle Union was doing an interview with, what was the name of the place, Mr. Smith?
I believe it's called Idea Generation.
So in this interview, they're talking about, like, Gabrielle Union is talking about all the things that she has to do, how she has to hustle, grind, and make sure that she's providing, making sure she's on point because all the people who are in her family that rely on her. So from that, she explains at one point, she talks about how her and her husband, Dwayne Wade, the NBA basketball player mostly for the Miami Heat, split everything 50-50. So here's what she initially said.
It's weird to say I'm head of household because in this household, we split everything 50-50. But in the other households that each of us have to support, it puts there's always this like gorilla on your back that it is like, you better work, bitch. You better work. Bitch, you better work. You know, you gonna sleep in? You know, somebody might not eat. Come on, you gotta work. And it's hard. It's hard to let that go. So I'm working on that.
So, and you hear that clip, so it's very clear that she's talking about the responsibility of taking care of her family and her household, and then what her and her husband have going on. Now, again, like I said, social media didn't jump to conclusions, and they never actually got the full context, or some people didn't get the full context, and people were saying, well, how come Dwayne Wade, with all the money he makes, why is everything 50-50? He's supposed to be a man of the household. And see, this is why what's wrong with men. They want to be leaders, but they don't want to lead. They don't have to be the traditional man to pay for everything. Nigga! Boy, I'm already tired thinking about this, but listeners, what Dwayne Wade did in another interview, we won't play it for time's sake, but he basically explained that, hey, I got my stuff going on, and I'm 100% on this. She has her stuff that she got going on. She's 100% on that. And we're 50-50. Like, we can do our own thing, and we can handle it. But if we bring it together, it can make it even bomber. Like, I think he used the example of like, oh, this trip was nice. Like, he paid with her money. But she was like, I know I can add part of my 50% on top of that to make it even bomber. And the biggest thing that people got up in arms about, and correct me if I'm wrong with Smith or Coach of Science, if you remember, it was that he explained in his conversation on the Shay Shay Room podcast.
Club Shay Shay,
where he said he had a conversation with Gabrielle Union where he told her it was in Miami. He said it was, oh, this is my house. He said this to a black woman. There's only but so many things you can say that you already know, like the minute it leaves your mouth, you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Boy, she said, whatever, that's fine. Whatever house, like when we move to LA, whatever house we get next, this will never happen again. You will never tell me again, this is your house. And we in this committed relationship, partnership together. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Did I miss anything, Mr. Smith?
Nope.
Okay, so do you guys have any thoughts about that? Because it was very interesting how people got in their feelings about this situation.
So first and foremost, this is one of those things that, like, it's great that you want to open up and you want to explain things because you are famous,
right? And
things, but that's one of those things that I feel like did not need to be said. That's something that could have been kept for just you. On the other side, though, I also understand from just a perspective of letting people get to know you a little bit better, and other people might like that 50-50. I personally see nothing wrong with the 50-50. And I think the problem, social media went off a little too far. I think they read way too much into it. And they read into the part about, like, they read into him being rich that he should maybe it's the type of girl that I am. I don't know.
Oh, very much so.
But
whoa, side note, listeners, just know I would never say that to the cultural scientist. I like my health. I love her. Isn't that right, baby? I said it like you told me how to say it earlier. I'm blinking twice, Mr. Smith.
I definitely feel like as a woman, how can I phrase this? A woman nowadays, as I stated before, many times previous on podcasts about women and men and relationships and just general. I've stated
Matter of fact, I know which episode that is. Listeners, you can always go back to season 1, episode 20 of the podcast where we talk about expectations. Run those numbers up.
I stated one of the biggest lessons I learned from the last relationship before Brother X was that that essentially the roles have changed and the expectations have changed over the years, and each person has to grow. Like, as a woman, we're taught that we're independent, We can take care of things. Now we are supposed to be able, especially the Black woman, is supposed to be strong, independent. Like that's what it is. And then the Black man is still taught to be the strong leader of the family. And when they come together, it becomes a issue. But even how I was taught 50-50 was a thing. This is why I find it funny that the world went chaotic because they mentioned 50-50 because he's rich.
Right.
It all has to do with because he is rich. And then go back to my favorite part about the whole, if this is my house. Okay, as a person who has not necessarily said it, but may have thought it or have said it to somebody else in reference to somebody else, I get it. I don't think it has anything to do with loving a person less or expecting less from a person. It has everything to do with that's that person's space. When they got the thing, if he bought the house, technically, he's not lying. If he tends for everything there, it is what it is. And like people ran with that. But I guarantee you in normal people's society, that statement is said more often than not. That's why I'm a firm believer in when you move in with somebody, it's awesome if you can move in to like a new place. Because sometimes that battle, or make sure you on the list and your name is on that list.
Yeah, it's just a matter of just being able to have equal ground and say so in the conversation because if you can't, then it becomes a power dynamic, and then one person feels like, well, I'm having to be the responsible one to take care of all this stuff, and the other person is like, I feel like you don't listen to anything I have to say in regards to these situations.
I agree with you. Like I said, I think mainly the real issue is that it's Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union.
But I've also seen that in other situations too.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, in the general sense, who really cares? Like, if there's a plan, and if the other person is fine with it, and the couple has talked about it, who really gives a flying flip?
I agree. I think it lends itself to a bigger thing. Like, the conversations that you have in your relationship that no one else sees is so vital and key to a healthy and successful relationship, because on the out front, you need to be a united front, which if you're not and you don't have clear understandings of what's going on, then you have misunderstandings.
Yeah, this is why, like, I did not 100% agree with the conversations about this when everybody was more on the mad side at my job.
You said on the men's side or
mad side?
Oh, mad side. Okay.
Mad, like they were all against Dwayne Wade, and they were like, "Oh, how dare he say that?" and blah blah blah. And I more sat down, and what I kept thinking was, I wondered what types of relationships each of these people have been in, because that also plays a role in how long have you been in a relationship, or what types of relationships have you been in. There's a lot that plays to it.
Yeah, because if you haven't had a relationship that's longer than a year, I'm going to question how much weight I put into your opinion on what a relationship would look like. Because, dog, you haven't even made it out of infatuation or the honeymoon phase.
Bruh, I don't think we got out of the honeymoon phase until like year 3.
Yes, there is a lot of stuff like, oh yeah, this is great. When you start getting to, dog, I haven't been in a relationship this long before type relationship, that's when I'm going to start listening to you, because now you have some experience.
That was a great conversation for us, by the way.
It was. I
recommend having that conversation if you reach a point in your relationship that you have never met or you have never reached before.
Especially when it comes to like those big milestones, making things official, moving in together, deciding to get married, deciding to create a family, trying to build with each other. All those things. Have those conversations.
Sorry, listeners. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, Mr. Smith, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, so with that, the first thing, again, listeners, if you hear a conversation, make sure you get all of the details of the conversation. Do not take the title of the article. Read the information. Reading is fundamental. Fun to mental. If you notice, yes, why is Dwayne Wade making her go 50-50 with him when he's rich? Well, listeners, you do know that Dwayne Wade was married before. And he has 3 kids before he got with Gabrielle Union and they had their daughter. So he's taking care of that piece, right? Also, both of them have families that they're taking care of.
Right.
Dwayne Wade has her sisters. They have her parents. Gabrielle Union has her sisters, has her parents. Dwayne Wade has his family. So they take care of 100% of their family stuff with them. But they do not, when it comes to them, they go 50-50 because if you listen to his words, as Brother X stated, yes, they could easily, take in or use their money and like, oh, I'll take care of it. Like, maybe I got this. But it's easier when you have a partner who's like, nah, babe, we're going to build this together.
Yep.
And to that, it goes into a deeper conversation that I don't know if we want to have it now or we want to save that for a future episode. But when you ask for the equality of being able to make that kind of bread, you also cannot regress to that of the 1950s where it's like, oh, the man got to pay for everything and I just got to take care of this. You can't have both. It's either got to be one or the other. Now, in certain cases, you could technically have both. You could make your own bread and you could be with the dude that's like, no, baby, I got everything. I'm going to use my bread. But also understand that everything is not free with that. It's going to come with a trade-off. And are you ready for that trade-off? Because if you were to say, oh, well, this man is going to take care of all the bills and all the expenses, and all I'm going to take care of is the stuff that I want to deal with, well, then he has a say-so in the stuff that goes on within that house, because he could easily be like, well, my name's on the mortgage, not yours. I pay all the bills, you don't. And yes, morally speaking, you would want a man to be there with you and build with you, but legally speaking, he could easily be like, you know what, I'm tired of you. Get the fuck out. Oh no, I own this house too. According to this document, you don't. You can go. So, it works for them. And that is one of the bases of this whole argument. Every couple will be different. Some couples may go 80-20, some couples may go 70-30, some couples may go 100-0, some couples may go 50-50. But the key is, if it works for them, leave them alone. Do you understand how much a mortgage is in LA? Bitch, is expensive.
Yup.
Do you understand that they are taking care of multiple houses? Shit's expensive. So yes, there's going to be times, and if you listen to him, he actually says there are only 3 things that he really goes 50-50 on. It's not everything. So again, listeners, read the whole article or listen to the whole interview before you make your think pieces, because it makes sense. And yes, both of them are rich. Gabrielle Union, technically speaking, was rich way before Dwayne Wade was. Because I'm sorry. Yep. Did Bring It On come out before that man was drafted?
Yup.
So what we talking? But again, the main thing I say to that is understand that, yeah, you can say, oh, well, he should make him go 50-50 because he's rich. But you also don't know what kind of issues or what kind of stuff that they're dealing with financially, that, hey, it'll be better if we come in as a team. But maybe you're saying that because you're back at home and your ancient niggas on the couch playing Madden and you taking care of the bills. That's a conversation for another day.
Go ahead, Coach Sciences.
To Mr. Smith's point, about like he stated, like it's not everything is 50-50. Not like that just because they say they choose to do 50-50 does not mean every single detail of their life is broken down to 50-50. Or perhaps sometimes that one time he wants like, oh, I got this one, or they flip-flop on turns. That's called a like partnership. One of the things I think the Brother X has used in our term, and this has nothing to do with financially, but it has more to do with just where people are in their lives. And one has to be the carrier and one has to be the follower or something like that. What exactly do you say?
I mean, sometimes someone has to do the carrying, someone has to do the being carried in a sense.
And that's essentially, and like, you have to be, now, it's not the easiest thing, but those are things you have to, like, in a relationship and in a partnership, it ebbs and flows. It's never going to be 100% or a 50-50 all the 100% of the time.
Yeah.
In that humble opinion.
No, I would agree. And we're only going to touch on this briefly because this is something that did come up and I wanted for us to kind of discuss it, but I know we're running a little bit long. I want to have the conversation. When things aren't had discussion-wise, probably like Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade, you end up with the Keke Palmer situation and her child's father.
Insecurity.
So, listeners, for those who don't know, if you've been living under the rock, Keke Palmer went to the Usher live the residency there, which Mr. Smith and Teacher Bear are going to go again for the third or fifth time. Who knows? Who counts anymore? But I also shout out to Big Tam Energy for hanging out with Usher on the screen and whatnot. Shout out to Big Tam Energy. Mr. Smith, go ahead.
I just want to say to Sweet Savage and Big Sam Energy, as our friend group, we are so happy for y'all because
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
When we saw that video, we said, hold up. We know that person.
We all in the group chat is that, right? I'm sure. Oh, there goes my baby.
And Kiki's what, our age, right?
Oh, maybe a little bit older. Give or
Yeah.
take.
So,
Give or
like,
take.
her reaction to Usher, right,
Yes.
is exactly the level of, like, is the normal reaction. It's Usher. Like, homeboy. But everybody, that's not the
I'm
problem.
about to say let's backtrack. For those who do not know who have been living under a rock. So she basically went to the residency, saw the performance. She was wearing a very grown dress. We'll call it that. She was wearing a very
had on a one piece like bustier area thing, and then a cover up with long sleeves that went all the way down that was see-through or mesh, as you would call it. And ever since she done got a baby, her body has been va boom. And it's a thong she had on. It was one of those thong type.
like a leotard. I think.
Leotard.
Yeah, I think they're called.
And her insecure baby daddy, yes, I'm speaking from my own feelings, said a couple of things. It's the outfit though, you a mom. However, the internet came back with the best. And one of my favorite things that I remember the most, because I completely agree with it, was the statement was, you keep asking for a traditional woman, but you did not make her a traditional wife. Just want to point this out, or something along those things. You made her a baby mama, but you did not make her a wife. But you want to treat her like a wife and get mad like a wife. I mean, like a husband. So,
Okay. To that point, let me say something, because I feel like there's a very interesting
There's a lot
nuance
going on.
that goes with that whole make me a wife to get me to. I'm not to your point, but I think there is a conversation.
to his point.
I know. I'm not saying to you.
Okay.
Relax, calm down.
Okay.
Reining in, Captain.
Continue.
But all I'm trying to say is there's nuance in the conversation of, well, if you want me to listen to what you're gonna do, or you want me to follow, you want me to do wifely things or husband-like things, then you need to put a ring on it. One, or if I'm not a wife for this thing, I don't have to listen. Like, one, if we're going to put that much weight on people getting married, be careful what you ask for. Yeah. Because people, how they view marriage, and you're going to say, oh, I will follow your lead, or oh, I will rein things in if I'm your wife or I'm your husband. That is a slippery slope. And I'm going to speak, and this is one of the very few times I ever go down this route. For some women who say that, you are going to get some niggas who are going to hold you to that, and then you're going to ask, well, that's not what I thought of being a woman. I didn't sign up for that. Why are you trying to tell me to boss me around like this? But you just said, if you're going to boss around, you didn't make me a wife. Well, I made you a wife. Now I want you to do this. Well, you can't tell me what to do. Ma'am, you missed the whole point. You just said, but I did, but I'm trying to get you, but you don't want to do it anyway. So what was the point of me doing? You know what? That's how you end up in divorce.
That's why you don't start off that way. It's fine to like change, but for you, not and like simmer for you, but how you want to simmer. Y'all get what I'm trying to say?
I mean, you can rein it in at your discretion, but I think, and Mr. Smith, you can tie into this because I think I know where you're going.
A girls' night.
Right. No, I get it. I think what you may be going into is that this solely, and mind you, anybody who's been in a relationship, you have a conversation. Have a conversation behind closed doors.
Yes.
This is not something that you do. You are a united front within reason in front of everybody else, especially in front of the white folks. We all know what that is. But this is a conversation you have behind closed doors. But this is also a conversation you have earlier on in a relationship before you let somebody shoot up the club or you shoot up a club. that is where you have that conversation. So ultimately, you have to make it very clear. Like I know this is not me sharing too much insider information, but I told the culture scientist when we were beginning the day, I had 2 big pet peeves. Don't lie to me and don't cheat. It is a no-go. It is a deal ender, and I am done. I don't play that. That is who I am. I don't leave wiggle room for it. I would rather you just go ahead and leave me if you feel like you're going to lie to me or you're going to cheat on me. Let it go. I will be okay. Don't waste my time, and more importantly, don't waste your time if that is something that you worry that you may deal with in the relationship. Mr. Smith, you have thoughts?
So, first thing, to culture scientists describing Keke Palmer, right? To me, like it's like a bodysuit, right? It's a bodysuit. Cheeks are cheeking a little bit, but it's not like a G-string or anything like that, right? And then the dresses,
belly out.
yeah, like it's like she's covered. She's actually really tasteful. For it to be Vegas, she's tastefully covered,
For
right?
her ass to be out, it's tasteful.
Right. Number 2, let's be really honest here, guys. If Usher wanted to take your bitch, he would take your bitch. Just call it what it is. We have seen it from Boondocks. When Tom was sort of like, oh,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But again, it's Usher, okay? Usher does this, and that goes to my next point. Usher does this in every show in his residency. Hence, we talked about Big Tan Energy. He will go in the VIP section where everyone has table service or whatever, and he will pick out one table where he will serenade one of the people. And let it be known, it's not just celebrities. He does that to regular people too.
Shout out to our friends.
Yeah.
Right? So, with that, that is why if that was me and Teacher Bay, now granted, we were in another section, sitting in another area, so of course we got to watch Usher walk or whatever. But if we were in there and he serenades Teacher Bay, I'm looking at it like, you get your dream come true. You get your childhood crush serenading you. And I'm glad. Brother X is auntie. I hope you not listen to this part. Guys, let me give you a little bit of game here. If Usher serenades your girl, do you understand how hot and bothered she gonna be about that? Do you understand that when you go back to the hotel, she's gonna be like, "Oh boy, I am hot, I am steaming. All right, it's go time. We going."
That's how you end up with another baby.
Listen, that is literally ass. You didn't even have to work for. You literally didn't have to do nothing, and you
showed up.
Yes. And what's the song say? I just left Pound Town. Like, that's what's gonna happen. This man that helped you out. And your insecure ass talk about some, but you dressed though, you a mom. In the immortal words of pretty much a lot of women out there, if you want to talk about a quote that will dry you up faster than I don't know what, nigga, come on now. Come on.
Don't remind her she's a mom now.
Like postpartum is a real thing. That choose your words wisely. Or wait, like dog,
she knows she a mom.
Right, like it's one of those things.
She thank her baby almost weekly for her body. She knows she a mom.
Go ahead.
So within that, then that goes to the next piece. Dude, if you really are a true man, then you know postpartum is real. Maybe she wanted to dress that way to remember I used to dress this way before I had the baby and feel just like her old self. And again, it's nothing crazy where it's like certain people that we see in Miami where we're like, whoa, okay, that's a bit much. Like she's actually dressed very
clothes than the girl from FAMU when she's posed naked.
You're not wrong. You be spinning.
That girl will forever catch shots. And I'm not mad at that. But like it's Keke freaking Palmer. Like it's Usher Usher is chilling. He's like, look, I'm gonna pick somebody, I'm gonna sing, and then he goes on about his show. But let's be completely fair. It ain't about the fact that she was dressed like that. You were just insecure because Usher serenaded your woman. Yes. And you were worried that she was gonna lose her. But to be fair, they're celebrities like, daggone well, Keke them and got been asked about by pretty much a lot of people on movie sets and everything. If she chose you, it is because you did something that she's like, you know what? I like this. This is who I want to be with. And men, let me be honest with you. You may think you have game, but a woman has to make that decision. in order to accept the game that you're giving. You can give the best game in the world, and a woman be like, "Nope, I'm good."
Bang, 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 bang.
I feel like we can end the episode with that.
I think at some point it's just like have those private conversations, talk through it. Whether you agree or not with the level of which he says something, just keep your private business.
Which is
Not
the
everything
lesson of today's.
like that is your transparent moment, man. Yeah, I get it. There's just
Ooh, that's the transparent moment. Not everything needs to be transparent.
yes, culture scientist. It is.
Oh my bad. Were you about to say that?
Yes, culture scientist. I was.
Awkward! Oh, look, a free iPad.
So you can always hit us up on our social media at the TNT5123 on Twitter, Truth and Transparency Pod on Instagram, Truth and Transparency on TikTok, the Truth and Transparency Podcast on Facebook, the Truth and Transparency Podcast on YouTube, and you can always hit us up on our email at truthandtransparencypod123@gmail.com. And for Mrs. Smith, for the coach scientists, and for myself, and for all of our lovers, supporters, and everybody in between, if this podcast gets no bigger than what it is right now, they are forever grateful. We are forever grateful. In the immortal words of my father, eat the elephant one bite at a time. Peace.
Are you doing the music video thing again?
Gotta go, honey. Bye. Too many days and hours. I'm so burning till you return. Till you return. You see my chest? Oh, even though there's my bruises, let it burn. Let it burn. Oh, let it burn. Let it burn. It's burning.
Boo! Hey, Tom, shut the fuck up.
Boy, watch your mouth. Tom, shut the fuck up.